Here's how you can hire foreign workers for your Canadian business. This is the overview of the whole process. Let's dive into each step in more detail. Step 1. Identifying the qualifications of the right candidate. According to Canadian legislation, immigration officers shall not issue work permit if they reasonably believe that the candidate cannot perform the duties of the position. Therefore, IRCC officers must be satisfied that the foreign national can perform the duties of the work in Canada. They will look into 3 sources when making their assessment. Number 1, NOC code and the employment requirements for that position. Number 2, the employer's your evaluation of the candidate. And number 3 is if there is an LMIA required, they will look into the LMIA issued by ESDC, Employment and Social Development Canada. Tips here that I can give you are the following. Before sending the job offer to the foreign national candidate, review the employment requirements that are listed for the position in the NOC code. And also, pay attention to your candidate's language skills because in Canada we speak English and French. We do jobs in these languages. Therefore, most cases can get refused due to insufficiency of language skills. And lastly, work with your experienced immigration lawyers to prepare all documents necessary. Let me give you an example of hiring a restaurant manager under this NOC code. As you can see in the employment requirements, which I suggest you read very carefully, there are certain educational requirements, experiences necessary for this position, and what this position's duties are. You can see here in the underlined text that this role will be involved in verbal communication and negotiation and written communication and so forth. So my tip here with respect to this specific position, you need to make sure that your candidate has the right education, experience in the food sector, and also language skills that allows him or her to communicate effectively when doing the duties of this position. In step 2, you need to understand if your company needs LMIA. There are certain exceptions. The general rule is that when you are hiring a foreign national, you need to obtain LMIA. But the government has made many exceptions. Here are some of them. For example, specialized knowledge workers and managers or executives from your home country company can be transferred to Canada without LMIA. Also, there are professionals and technicians in specific occupations that are listed in the free trade agreements between Canada and other foreign countries, such as US, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Chile, South Korea, and so on. They are listed in this slide. There are some professionals that come to Canada on a short-term basis, and you can hire them for less than 90 days. They don't need LMIA either. Also, French-speaking workers working outside of Quebec don't need LMIA. If you are based outside of Quebec in other provinces and you want to hire French-speaking professionals, you don't need an LMIA, which could be a good option for you. In addition to that, there's a young professional program under which you can hire professionals from participating countries without LMIA. You should read this list thoroughly and understand if the foreign national that you are hiring fits into one of these exceptions. Let's dive into hiring LMIA exempt workers with some examples. Here are the examples of our clients hiring foreign workers without LMIA. A construction company hired French-speaking construction workers from Haiti using Francophone Mobility Program. A Toronto-based professional consulting firm hired a management consulting using free trade agreement between Canada and Chile. A restaurant in Canada hired a chef from Peru using Canada-Peru Free Trade Agreement. A hospitality company hired a customer service representative from Lithuania using Young Professionals Program. And you can read other examples for yourself. So let's discuss step number 3. If you need LMIA, then you have to apply for LMIA. Here are the main steps. Number 1, advertising the position. Number 2, attempt to hire local Canadians, Canadian permanent residents or Canadian citizens. Number 3, LMIA application to ESDC. Number 4, interview with ESDC. And number 5, you will get a decision from ESDC. There are different streams of LMIA. For example, high wage and low wage, agriculture stream, global talent stream, and LMIA to support PR applications, and so on and so forth. Another note that I want to share here is that advertisement requirements and wage requirements can be very different from stream to stream, so you need to pay attention to that. Let me give you some tips when applying for LMIA. When advertising the position, don't forget that common reason for LMIA refusal is improper or insufficient advertisement. So your advertisements should be perfect, technically perfect. Advertising at Job Bank is mandatory. That's a government website. You have to advertise the position there. Make sure that your ad is always active during the entire LMIA process. Ensure that you are offering a median wage. You can find the median wage for the position on Job Bank website. Try to advertise in 3 or 4 additional sources in addition to Job Bank. One of the sources should be a paid source like LinkedIn, Monster, or Indeed. Another source could be a specialized website related to that occupation. For example, if you're hiring a truck driver, then you should advertise on the website of truck drivers. And one more source could be the website of underrepresented groups, such as newcomers to Canada. Another important tip that I want to share is please do not tailor your advertisement to fit your candidate. You need to make your advertisement as general as possible to allow all variety of candidates to apply for that position. The goal is to allow as many candidates as possible to apply for the position. You may get refused if your job advertisement discourages local applicants from applying. For example, if you put a foreign language other than English and French as a requirement for the position. And lastly, the minimum duration for advertisement is 30 days for general websites and continuous recruitment for the Job Bank website. Let me give you some tips related to technical aspects of the Job Bank. When creating your posting on the Job Bank website, you should select the basic, the default option. This option allows matches with job seekers from diverse backgrounds as opposed to strict option which limits the number of applications. When seeking to fill high wage positions, you are required to invite all job seekers that have been matched by Job Bank within the first 30 days of your advertisement if they are rated as 4 stars or more. Also, try to interview at least 3-4 local candidates and document all your recruitment efforts. You will be asked by ESDC about your recruitment efforts and why you couldn't find a suitable candidate within Canada. And here's the last set of tips related to LMIA application and LMIA interview with ESDC. In your LMIA application, you need to choose the proper NOC code and include the documents that are listed in the form, including copies of all advertisements showing their duration. For companies that have been active for less than 12 months or have low income and they want to hire foreign workers, you must also include an attestation from your lawyer or from your accountant to show the financial capacity of your company. When it comes to LMIA interview with ESDC, you shouldn't panic, you shouldn't be intimidated. They are informal interviews and the ESDC officers will ask you questions based on the LMIA application form. The main purpose of the interview is to verify the information about your company's active engagement in business, your company's needs for talent, and whether the recruitment efforts to hire locally were completed properly. Also, don't forget that at any given time, you may ask the ESDC officer to send your responses in writing. You may also ask your immigration lawyer to attend the interview to help you with answering the questions. So we arrived to step number 4. Now you've obtained the LMIA if it is required, and now your foreign worker is ready to submit his work permit application. Here's how you can support your foreign worker's work permit application. Number 1. Provide your candidate with an employment contract clearly outlining the role, duties, and job requirements. Tip here is to ensure that you don't provide anything outside of the scope of NOC requirements. Number 2 is to provide your candidate with a reference letter clearly stating that the recruitment was conducted and why you believe your candidate is a good fit for the position. Number 3, address the problematic issues, if any. For example, the candidate's modest language skills could be addressed by showing the limited need for language skills and the accommodations you have made at the workplace. And lastly, number 4, encourage your foreign worker to include documents showing ties to home country, as well as documents proving that he can do the job in Canada. And last step that goes without saying is that you need to stay compliant when your foreign worker comes to Canada. Never ever charge your foreign worker directly or indirectly for any costs associated with hiring, such as LMIA costs, recruitment costs, training costs, etc. Second, pay your employees the promised wages and comply with the terms of LMIA or job offer that you provided. If your employee decides to quit or you decide to terminate their employment, notify the IRCC and ESDC. Follow the proper termination protocol and document all your efforts to support your workers' compliance with the terms of their temporary stay in Canada. Also, provide your foreign worker with information about his or her rights as a temporary foreign worker in Canada and document it. Finally, remember that 50% of Canadian employers get audited for compliance, and you may be asked to pay a hefty penalty of up to $100,000 if found abusing the rights of your foreign worker. That's all for now. If you need guidance in Canadian immigration and hiring foreign workers for your Canadian business, you need a competent, honest, and caring team on your side. Sobirov's law firm has been helping Canadian employers benefit from international talent pool, and we would like to help you too. Contact us for more information and start your international hiring with Sobirov's law firm today.